extinguishers and everything.
Oh my gosh.
They were driving by.
Wow, that's good timing. And they have the extinguishers. That's amazing.
It's good.
Are we ready to roll whenever you're? Good. Hello, it's 6:30 and I'd like to call this meeting to order and we will start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everyone. And if we could have roll call, please.
Mayor Smith,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Swartz,
Here.
Trustee Valentine,
I see. Trustee Check.
Here.
Trustee Heck,
Here.
Trustee Hunter. Here. Trustee Stelter.
Here.
You have it.
Thank you.
Here.
Find the unmute button. Yes.
I move to approve the agenda with the removal of item number 5, request from the Learning Council. They had requested to be removed.
I second.
All in favor of approving the agenda as amended?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
thank you. And our next spot is announcements. And I have several. The first is that we have an opening on the planning commission and we are accepting applications from interested parties who would like to be on the planning commission. And our town clerk will be taking those applications by August 21st. The packet has the revised interest form in it. And then if you have questions about the position, you're welcome to contact Clerk Benner. And then we also have 3 seats open on the Zoning Board of Adjustments. And it only meets when there are public hearings scheduled. And it hasn't really met very often. And there's a quasi judicial board. And again, you can use that same interest form. And if you have questions, you can contact Clerk Better. And you do not have to be an in-town resident to be on the ZBOA, but you do have to be an in-town resident to be on the Planning Commission. And then I have another announcement, which is not on the agenda. And that is that Sam Better learned today that she is officially a certified municipal clerk. And we both thought she's the first certified municipal clerk in the town of Paonia. As far as we know, historically, I think you are the first. So congratulations on all your hard work and getting that notification today. That is wonderful. So that's it for me. Oh, yes.
May I just, because we just had an audience member join, in case you did not hear, in case you're here for item 5 about the Learning Council, they withdrew their application for tonight.
Thank you. I'm only here just to learn what's going on.
Yay, great, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, just no surprise here. And any other announcements from anybody?
Did we
Yes.
have our tree, we have the tree thing on Saturday, or all the spots taken for that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the sick tree day.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, great. So this is the time during the agenda when anyone in the public, whether online or in the room, if they would like to speak for 3 minutes to the trustees on any item that is not on the agenda. So this is your opportunity to do so. And we have a single person in the room and you're not interested in doing that. Is there anybody on Zoom who would like to speak on anything on their mind that is not on the agenda? Seeing no hands, okay, we will move on from that. And we will move on to the consent agenda. We have 2 meeting minutes from July 8th, 2025 and July 22nd, 2025, the marijuana license renewal and disbursements. Yes.
I just want to make on page, 16, under item 4 for Whitewater Engineering, it says wildlife recovery action plan. I think you mean wildfire recovery action plan.
Probably, yeah. Not as much fun.
Yeah.
We'll get that fixed.
Thank you for picking up on that. Any other comments or questions regarding the consent agenda? All right, hearing none, would somebody like to make a motion to accept it with the identified correction.
I make a motion.
Mayor,
Oh, yes.
sorry, I'm really sick, so I'm gonna try to do my best to tell you what's going on. Disbursements, right, is in this consent agenda, and we do have an issue to bring up with Motorola Solutions. There was a
Okay.
letter that was given as well. After reviewing it, I ended up reviewing it along with the account manager for Motorola and then their sales manager because things were not matching up with the contract. They do now, and that's what that letter is explaining after a pretty long meeting with Motorola to kind of hash things out.
Thank you for that clarification. Any questions on that from trustees? Okay, with that, somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda with the aforementioned correction. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That motion passes. So, Stefan, how would you like to deal with your administrator's report? Would you like to postpone a discussion?
No,
or just-
I can go through it. I'll end up muting when I start hacking up along. So
Okay.
just bear with me here. So in the disbursement report, you're going to see a couple of new changes, or I'm sorry, the monthly budget to actuals. You're going to see a couple of new changes. The first this is a carryover from the last month. You'll see the previous month's total all accounts at the bottom, so that we can track in real time our cash on hand. When you go to the grant page, you'll see that I've updated that as well. I did do my first grant request or drawdown through CWCB for a hydrogeological study. That grant request was a little over $73,000. I don't know if we've received it yet. I've been out of the office, but I'm hoping that we have. If we haven't, I'll follow up when I get back into the office to find out why. Then the next page is something that I promised would be coming after we finished our audit. So this is our fund balances, and I know that every single one of the bottom lines say total general fund. Those are typos. The first one regarding general fund is correct. And then underneath our general fund, you'll see our minor, what they call non-major accounts, and then our enterprise funds following that. The one thing that isn't on here, and I have to wait until this upcoming, I get the upcoming monthly financial statements from Professional Management Solutions, is our sales tax capital improvement fund. That's the other major fund aside from the general fund. So once I have that, our next month's, what my goal is to get all of these totals for the end of the month to comport or jive with what's on that first page for cash on hand. It may be a lofty goal because sometimes interest isn't booked as we're earning it. It's normally booked in between 30 and 45 days after we've earned it. And that's just a timing issue with our third party. Other than that, those are the changes, and you can just see how we've tracked it by department going all the way through. I do want to draw attention to the garbage or sanitation fund. That's the reason for the emergency ordinance tonight. I've said this over the last several months. We have to do a mid-year rate increase, and you'll see that it is necessary because that bottom line is that we're operating at a deficit for this year of about $26,000. That's why we have to increase our rates. Other than that, that's all I've got, unless you have any questions.
Any questions for Administrator Nguyen? Yes, Trustee Hunter.
It looks like we got that final temporary construction easement. Is that accurate?
For Fifth and Grand, yes,
Yep.
we did.
Awesome.
And that was in the disbursements. Mr. Ewart came in and signed, and hopefully he can get his check this week.
Awesome. Congrats on that. Thank you. Okay. Yes.
I just want to say I really, really appreciate the addition of the summary of revenues and expenditures for the monthly fund balance. I think that that's a great addition, and it's just being super transparent. So thank you for your work on getting that together.
Yeah, of course. That is a GFOA recommendation for best practices, so I'm glad to have implemented it.
Anyone else have questions for Administrator Nguyen? Okay, we'll move on to the police chief's report.
Okay, so report this month looks a little bit different, and this kind of comes out of some questions we had last month about 4th of July. So this is really more of a summary of just what we see during the month of July. We responded to exactly 100 calls for service in July, nearly identical to last year. We had 101. Traditionally, what we do during July is we do less in-house trainings and less off-site trainings as well. We don't always send people out of town in July. We try to keep everybody here and stay staffed. We have overtime shifts guys are allowed to sign up for, and that's really just due to the amount of people and events we have in July. And that's kind of what we see. We have a few other months like that, but July is really our big one where we try to limit how much guys are doing other stuff besides just patrol. We had Cherry Day started, then Big B's, and then Top of the Rockies. Those were our first 3 days. Were boom, 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 right in a row. Typically, when we have something like that stack up, those overtime shifts will increase. We tend to see more traffic stops, things like that, but this year was pretty similar to last year when we had. We were expecting a little bit of decrease because of some of the traffic issues we had last year with Blue Mesa being closed, but ultimately it kind of evened out and we're about the same. What wasn't the same was our in-calls, calls for service at Talent Park. Those definitely went up. The important note about that, we had 12 this year, only 1 in 24, but not all the incidents were criminal nature. So this year we had a lot more lost and found. We had citizen assist, we had some med calls. So, you know, statistics always kind of tell 2 stories, but when we see that everything was criminal, it really wasn't. We just had a lot of people at the park, and as a result of people, we just got asked for help a lot more, which is a good thing. We had a lot of property that was found. And ultimately, we were able to get a lot of it back to the individuals who had loans. Several incidents occurred outside the festival event timeframes and reflected increased usage of park facilities in general. Officers are reporting an increase in the number of park users, particularly in skate park, football field, and playground areas. And this is something that's kind of been tracking really in the spring, but we noticed it a lot in July. There's a lot of people at the park. They're using the lights for certain events. We have people that are just even, the skate park is very busy, the playground is busy, especially with the new wood chips and all. It almost seems like anytime we made improvements, we saw an uptick in usage. But we're seeing a lot of people at the park. And not just, that doesn't only reflect the calls for services, why we're seeing them just in our patrols. There's a lot of people using that facility.
Any questions for Chief Manager?
Yes, Chief Manager, I know like we've talked a lot about how you all do community policing and you just talk to people. And like with bike lights, for example, what would you count that under? So if you're like, oh, hey, Trustee Schwartz, you don't have a bike light. You need to have one. Is that a verbal warning? Would you count that? Like, where would that show up on here?
Yeah, so each officer, it's kind of going to be dependent, but it would depend if they saw him and they contacted him. For example, they saw him going to the park and they went to the skate park. If they just contact them, that's probably going to be a head contact or an information report. But if they actually stopped them, that's going to show up the traffic stop. They stopped them, they contacted them, and then with those stops, that's when we're handing out the lights. That's the education. But it really would depend on whether they were stopped while riding their bike or they contacted them once they got somewhere or they were stopped downtown.
Got it. So some of those won't be reflected in these numbers.
Yeah.
Interactions.
And we're keeping track of the lights that we're handing out. So hopefully by start of the 4th quarter, I can have some numbers. We'll have a few months under our belt, hand those out. We know how many we ordered and how many we won't hand it out. So that should be helpful.
Thank you.
That trigger any other questions? Okay. We'll move on to Ms. Polis.
There we go. I was like, I gotta go off the screen here. So for the month of July and a little bit into August, since this meeting was kind of late in the month, start out with water. Our hydrogeological study is complete. We're just waiting on the actual reports. So they were able to get good readings one of the engineers that were up there, when he came down, he said it went better than expected, so those are good words. The water restrictions, we have started those as well. Just for using potable water for irrigation right now, so just phase one. The temp tank, as you can see, I pictured that one, it is up, it is being plumbed in this week. So it's just kind of sitting there just like that right now. So once it's plumbed in, we'll do the disinfection and then we'll be able to start swapping tanks.
And will that just rise?
Yeah,
It
it's just
fills.
like a balloon that just fills itself. So it really is just a swimming pool, empty swimming pool right now is what it looks like. And so wastewater, our final 2 aerators came in, so that is done. Now we just have to put them in the pond. So that was good, they finally arrived. Out at wastewater as well, this became a safety hazard. This grate got hit, got ran over, and we have replaced that, so now nobody will fall to their death. Streets, we've really been working on streets. Was that last month, maybe the month before, there was a disbursement for that rock asphalt. That's what this is. So there's a before application and then the end product for the pictures. What's really nice about it is you just have to wheel roll it. It takes 1,200 pounds of pressure to activate it and then it's set. So it was pretty cool. The guys really like it. So we're kind of experimenting with that around town. We also started curb repair. We started at Dr. Lanninger's office because it's right across from the shop. Pretty easy, and it was in a pretty rough shape as well. But he was able to get that done in a couple days. I think it looks great. I saw some kids on bikes, go over pretty smoothly. I think Mrs. Bays went over it as well with her chair, and it didn't look like anybody was gonna fall over, so it was great. We also fixed the drain there by the post office. That had been a call-in several times. In this first picture by the cones, you can kind of see where it's about to heave. So that was about, that was catching people's toes, things like that. So we were able to replace that, and we ended up piping it instead of open trenching it like it is now. Especially because if it does freeze, we have the back now, which is really nice. So that was the finished product there. So a lot of concrete work that we've been able to accomplish lately. Parks, kind of to go along with Chief Langer's reports as well. We survived Cherry Days, we survived BMW. I don't have much to report besides we were able to rehab the grass after Cherry Days, and I wish I had a before picture. But this is an after picture of the large gazebo where we put down playground chips that you can see. That was so hammered and bare and hard as concrete after the beer garden was right there. And we were able to get it back to that, so they were pretty proud of it. We're going to start trying to get the grass to grow over by the stage. We just kind of have to learn a schedule to go from Cherry Days, BMW, right into picking in the park. It gets hammered, so we're working on that. We've also just been struggling with parks in general this year. You can see by our budget. Finding the sprinklers for one, there were zones that were just capped off that, point to nowhere, or they're installed at a wonky angle and will just shoot over things and not hit the grass at all. So we're trying to find those things and remedy them as best we can. We're also looking at trying to get a quote to upgrade our system as well. So that's in the works. Oh, that's all I got. All right, that's the end.
Any question for our Public Works Director?
No question, just a comment, the new banner hanger out at Twin Lakes looks great.
Yeah, we just put that in today, so I was like, well, we can't put it in the report. There's big things for next month's report. It's been a busy week last week. But yeah, so that's up. I think it looks great. The only thing we're worried about, or that we might recommend, is when we do buy banners, get them with the little slits and them so the wind can get through. So
We'll scallop.
yeah, that's because we'll see how the wind takes those two, but.
See?
Yes, okay, I just have 3 things. I don't think they're too much. But, with the aerators, so stoked that those came in. I'm not sure if Kaja mentioned it to you, but when we were reviewing disbursements last week, the DMEA bill was like $1,000+ more.
That is good to know.
And so I think it's something, and that was not having them all in. So what we're not sure is if it was an increase because they just require a lot more electricity, or if it was because they had some billing issues and it was getting caught up. But then that is something to note that, I think it was like $1,200 or $1,300 more than the previous month.
And we're not gonna put them all in at this time. The one in each side of the pond should be doing good instead of 2 in each.
Ooh, and then we have backups.
So then we have backup.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
And could the extra electricity that showed up be because you have 2 brand new aerators running and they
We
might?
only have one in right now. We haven't installed these, because we have to rent the tower ever.
So
We haven't done that yet.
okay, so that may not explain it.
Yeah,
So
so
we're
we
thinking
will-
it was aerators.
We'll keep monitoring it
Yeah,
and
that'd be
then,
great.
and then let you know, because I don't think anybody thought about electricity usage, but.
Well, and I think we also have the old one in there as well.
Yes.
Make sure we were catching up. Really is what we're doing too, but yeah, no, we should definitely track that. Let me know.
Okay, cool. The next thing is the curb looks amazing. I was so excited to see that. I know in the past, we've had people come in and say, can we get Reedy's curb fixed? Is Reedy's curb on the list?
They're next.
Oh,
I told Bob, he's like, yo, I don't see you. And he's like, we practice on Stacy's.
Yeah.
Like Stacy's here, you know, like, she wasn't gonna complain to us.
beautiful. There was one more, but my brain has forgotten. So nice,
Oh,
yes, you and your old.
Well done. Lots of progress. Thank you. All the way around. All right, we'll move on to actions and presentations. And the first one is consideration of resolution 21-2025 enacting stage 2 fire restrictions. And I took this on because Stefan was out of town. And we learned, Chief Laminger let me know that the county had instituted the stage 2 on August 7th. So we knew we had time to get it on this agenda so we can approve it. And essentially, it's stepping up restrictions. No open fires, no tiki torches. You know, you probably read the restrictions that were in there. So, and it mirrors what the county had. So, you know, I'm presenting it, but I'm not the expert. But any questions amongst you about the resolution?
Just the comment looked entirely reasonable. I didn't have any changes or.
And I'll just put it out to the public. Anybody have any comments on the stage 2 restrictions resolution? No hands? Okay. If you're all ready, maybe a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 21-2025, instituting stage 2 fire restrictions for community.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I,
Right, that passes. Thank you. And I'm also was the person who did item number 2. But I had let Stefan know that I'm really sorry, but when I did my thank you letter, I was not paying attention to what the grant said we were going to do. And I was so excited about the bathrooms that I did not pay attention to the fact that we had projected to paint the Apple Valley bathroom inside and out. That has not occurred, correct? But we did commit to fixing the plumbing, which we've done.
Yes.
So, and the electrical wiring has been updated at Apple Valley, and we did not install heaters in both bathrooms.
Not at Apple Valley, but
Not at
at
Apple Valley.
Yes.
So the work, and I need to talk to Stefan more about this because I don't know that he earmarked all of the 17,000 towards the bathroom. That he and I can talk about that. But I just wanted, when I got the packet and I read my letter and I looked at this and I went, well, so I would like to retract this for now. Let me get with Stefan, rewrite the letter.
I
So then
think, Mayor, if I may, Mayor, if I may.
Yeah.
So it does say that we will do upgrades to the town park bathroom and Apple Valley bathroom. While it doesn't go into detail what we will do at the town park, the budget that was submitted to the Colorado Grant Committee was grossly understated for the amount of work that needed to be done. It was said that the plumbing issues at an Apple Valley were far worse than what they actually were. It cost us what, $1,100 total in and out to get those plumbing things done. The big thing that they wanted to see from conversations with them was was updates to the town park bathrooms so that they could be open year round. I think your letter satisfies what they're asking for, or what we put in for a grant and what we've done. I think they would be very happy to see this. And when I talked to them about this, oh gosh, it was early 2024, while planning their trip in 24, they said nobody ever gives them an update after they've gotten the grant money. So sending them anything would just be wonderful. And that's what I'd like to say about that. Sorry.
But one thing, we did not put heaters in the bathroom, did we? We did. Town park, yeah, okay.
You sure did.
Does Apple Valley have heaters?
No.
No.
So I mean, that's good to hear. But, all right, trustees, you decide. Yes,
I
trustee
have a
Hunter.
question for you, Madam Mayor. Would you, because it sounds like you would like another go at this. I would like to get this out, and I agree with what Stefan said, but I also see your point. Would you like to see this tabled until next meeting?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take, well, only because I feel like now I didn't quiz Nikki or Stefan about the letter, what we said we were gonna do and what we've done. And I feel like I could tailor it a little better. I could have the before and after pictures of the Apple Valley plumbing. And I honestly would feel better about it if it just addressed things more prescriptively and specifically, because I didn't know there were heaters in the bathroom. Okay, yes, and let me have Walter. Or
Well, I was
trustee
gonna
Check.
say, we can just trust you to revise your thank you letter, now that we know what you say and approve, the fact that you want, will send it. So I think you can just, okay.
Would you all be okay with coming in and signing the letter after I get it done? Because we thought it would be good to have everybody's signature on it.
Yes, and there's just a tiny typo.
Oh, okay, Laddles?
Yes, I have two thoughts. I think if it's coming from the board as a whole, I think we should review it. And because you're the main author of it, I think you should be happy with it. I feel good about tabling it to the next meeting.
Okay, would somebody like to make a
I
motion?
move to table this agenda item into the next meeting.
A second.
All those in favor?
Hi.
Do we have all ayes? Was that a unanimous aye? Okay, thank you all very much, and I apologize for having to go back and do some revisions.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
writing it. Thanks for taking your notes. That was awesome.
And I also want to let you know that in Word, the pictures line up, and the PDF takes them out. So we'll make sure it looks good when it goes to them. Okay, thank you. All right, item number 3, consideration of accepting opioid settlement for Purdue Pharmaceuticals. Stefan, you all right with taking that on?
Sure. Okay, so this is you guys have already done this, I think, twice before, maybe 3 times before. This is a standard opioid settlement agreement. This time, a settlement was reached with Purdue Pharmaceuticals. What we've done in the past is that I believe what's allocated to us goes to the county, and the sheriff disseminates those funds for appropriate programs, or that are allowed for those settlement funds to be used for. Chief Laminger may have a little more on that, but that's my understanding for what they're for. All it needs is your approval, and I can sign it and get it back to them.
Any questions for Administrator Wynn on this?
Yeah, how much money are we talking about? Just out of curiosity.
It didn't say in here, I don't know. You want to ask?
Yeah, it's not very much. If we were to try to take all this funding ourselves and just do it, or just try to start our own program, we wouldn't get very far. That's why we pool it with the county. It's not something that's going to be mind blowing or anything like that.
Yeah, so traditionally, this money goes to the county since they already have the programs implemented. A municipality our size typically doesn't have a lot of these drug rehabilitation programs. We've worked on Dropbox in the past, but theirs is already established and set up. And they are, we take some of our stuff down there, so they'll take some of our narcotics, we have them as well. So it's really more beneficial to everybody, since they already have these things in place. We still have the size to design, develop, and implement a lot of these programs that were required, these funds were required to use all.
Any questions from the audience? Or online? Nope, seeing none, okay. Someone ready to make a motion?
I move to approve the Purdue Pharmaceuticals opioid settlement agreement and allow administration of the funds to be managed by Delta County.
I'll second.
Hey, thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Okay, moving on to consideration of reappointing the town administrator and treasurer as the town CML, Colorado Municipal League Policy Committee representative, and the town clerk as the town's alternative. Stefan, your voice left for that one?
I do. I'm saving it for the fun stuff here in a little bit.
Okay.
But no, this is a reappointment from what we did in the previous year. You'll see updates as the next legislative session comes into play. You'll see them in my town administrator report. Kind of the stand that the town took, and what most municipalities in the state take, as it relates to various state legislation. This is how we were able to know about changes that were coming. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Phone's is sending me a reboot thing. One moment. We were made aware of legislation that was happening before it passed or before it actually went for a full vote, so we could engage with our legislators to let them know what we believe those policies would do to our community. I think between Sam and I, we didn't miss a single meeting. We met all of our criteria to remain as members and alternates for this policy committee.
Questions for Administrator Witt?
I just have one question. So you, and this is to both of you, you find it worthwhile. Like, I get how valuable your time is, and the fact that you'll have to travel to Denver sometimes, like this is a valuable thing for y'all to participate in.
Yeah, it's virtual. We don't have to go to Denver unless we're asked to testify, which we haven't done that yet. There hasn't been any sort of legislation that would affect us as much that would require one of us to testify. And yes, we do find it very valuable.
Better.
I was gonna say, and I know they find it valuable too, to have so many municipalities, multiple different sizes. So it's really worthwhile to do.
Great, thank you both.
Okay.
I should say that if we weren't in it, the only voice that Delta County would have would be from the city of Delta, which is not a statutory community. They're a home rule community, and they're much larger than us. And so I think it's really important that we actually have a say on this committee.
Any comments from the public in the hall or online? Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I move to reappoint town administrator and treasurer as the town's representative to the CML policy committee and the town clerk as its representative. Alternate.
Oops. We have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you. We are skipping, we removed item number 5 from the agenda, so we're now going to turn to item number 6, consideration of ordinance 20-2504, modifying chapter 13, article 6, garbage collection.
Okay. Yeah, so I know, Mayor, you had sent some potential revisions, and I replied to that in an email. I don't know if you've seen that yet.
I did,
but
I replied back.
Okay, I haven't received the. But so the existing Paonia Municipal Code concerning garbage collection was duplicative and contrary. In multiple sections, it tried to reiterate some things and wasn't clear all the way through. And so it made trying to administer this policy pretty difficult. Modifications remove fees for bulk items listed in the code and replace them with language that those fees will be modified by resolution. So in the past, the town had been modifying fees for bulk collection by resolution, but the code supersedes the resolution because the code had set by bulk item uh, the fees associated with each bulk item. And then you can't change the code by changing it with resolution unless the code is specific to say you can change those fees by resolution. And that's essentially what this ordinance does. It modifies our existing code to allow us to make some changes by resolution for fees, charges for services, bulk trash pickup, and then it also allows us to set by resolution days for pickup. So and how we're going to if there's any changes to like scheduling or the type of container that's allowable or what is considered hazardous materials, we can now set that by resolution based on this ordinance. I know the question, there were questions on, I think it was 13670B, which, I'm sorry, 13670. Yes, B, which is yard waste and oversized trash pickup. The way that our ordinance currently read, it was really difficult to try to understand what was considered an oversized item. And then we had a resolution that was contradictory to what was in the code. The reason that I have in B that we will pick up yard waste in an organized untied pile is because we may try to take that yard waste and give it and try to either donate it to one of our soil companies or find a way to get rid of it that is better than just taking it to the landfill. We may also, and what we've done is tried to future-proof this to allow us to pick up yard waste on a different day from garbage collection for the entire town. That way we're not hauling all of this yard waste and filling up our garbage truck to the landfill and paying for it unnecessarily. What we've also done is we've also said that there are some things that cannot go into yard waste. No plastic, dirt, cactus, tree stumps, branches that are too big or too wide for us to pick up, ashes, animal waste, treated lumber, logs like railroad ties, old garden hoses or broken flower pots. This has to be your traditional grass clippings, hedge clippings, those kinds of things in order to be picked up for yard waste. Again, no construction material is allowed. Our code is pretty specific on that, and we didn't really change that part, is that if you are getting construction material and it's not part of your normal weekly dumpster pickup, that it must go in a roll-off container that you have gotten yourself. And so that's staying within this ordinance and not being modified. We also added some things for failure to comply and, with any provisions. And that's including a violation and penalty. I do want to say that there was an addition that needs to be corrected. Section 4, emergency declaration. It is not to facilitate the enforcement of meat waste disposal. Meat should be stricken from the final ordinance. Apologies for that. That must have just been a typo while trying to type out waste, I would assume. But anyway, if there are any questions, I'm happy to entertain them.
Questions?
Just a suggestion, if you're looking for somebody to compost, they do that at the prison. I used to hire those guys way back when. And I know they can compost there, and they work for governments for nothing. It's all tied together. I don't know if it would work or not.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. We are trying to look at ways to reduce our cost at the landfill. And if that means that we can send some of our yard clipping to somebody that wants to turn it into compost, wonderful. We'll donate it. We'll give them as much yard waste as they want. But what we're doing with this ordinance is allowing us to make those changes by future resolution should we get to the point where we're going to take yard waste separate from our our traditional garbage pickup.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say two things stuck out to me. Is one, I was really excited to see about the yard waste. I'm like, okay, we're looking forward here about how we can reduce waste. That's been really exciting for me. Even if we don't have it yet, we will come up with it. And then the second thing that I was thinking about is there are some significant changes. How will we be getting the word out? Because, you know, $1,000 fine, where I get that not to exceed $1,000 that was in the current old one. But yeah, how will we get the word out to people so that they know what they can and cannot do?
Yeah, as soon as this passes, we'll be sending out as many communications as we possibly can. Through text.my.gov, social media. We can even put it up on bulletin boards. We're not going to go right out the gate trying to make our money back that we're in a deficit for by fining people. That's not the intent. I've already started kicking around some ideas this week during my travel back from the funeral on what we could do, and one of them includes anybody that wants to purchase like bulk trash, prepay for bulk trash. We'll provide them with a sticker, a town sticker that they can put on that bulk trash, so that our guys in the field know that it's been paid for and ready for pickup. There's just different ways that we can get that word out as well. But we're going for compliance, not to fine, and so there will be some warnings and maybe some tagging of trash that isn't acceptable, with an explanation of why.
And as a follow, thank you for that, Town Administrator. But as a follow-up, I think it has been helpful, like me as a town resident, when y'all, Public Works, put something on our garbage can, because if I think about all the people in town who don't have access to social media or the text.my.gov or don't know about it yet, like, I know that's probably a pain for Public Works, but that might be a really efficient way of getting out to everybody about it, like just a succinct flyer.
And I know, like, when they are in violation, they'll tag the cans a lot. A lot of times it doesn't get seen, or it gets thrown away in the trash, or, things of that sort. I don't know if Matt Taylor's on or not, if that's his iPhone up there, he could probably explain more. But it will just be another tool in the tool belt, because, yeah, it doesn't hit everybody, but the people who actually pay attention, absolutely.
And just so you know, I don't get tagged a lot.
So we do have a new part-time employee, and this sounds like it would be right up his alley if we were to take a sticker and a flyer and start sticking it onto trash cans.
Any comments? I actually wrote up some proposed changes to this, but I'll explain, I think, what the biggest things are that we need to consider. But before I do that, there is a compost facility that is right next to the landfill, and it's free to take leaves, clippings, even pallets, Monday through Friday. I think it's about 8 to 4. I just went there yesterday. So there is that too. And then you can buy compost from them, big piles of it. But my question was on page 171, that subsection B says that you can't put out branches bigger than 18 inches in diameter. And then if you go down to, let's see, 4I, it says no more than 4 inches in diameter. So which would you like it to be, 4 or 18?
It should be 4.
Okay, that makes sense. So then another question I had, and thank you for the explanation for why you're talking about compostable bags, because the intent here is if people use a compostable bag, it could be directly thrown into a compost, but not at the facility where I have taken my stuff. I don't think they would take it that way, but
That's correct. That's also why we're saying untied, because people tend to tie things with a plastic twine that would have to get cut off and garbage. You can't take that to one of these kind of facilities either.
and that all makes sense. And so under B1, yard waste including branches, leaves, and grass clippings may be bundled. So my point was, you really can't bundle leaves and grass clippings. So I'm wondering if it wouldn't be better to just say yard waste or branches may be neatly stacked and unbundled in 4-foot lengths. And then leaves and grass clippings may be must be put in certified compostable bags or reusable containers. Because you also have reusable containers mentioned here, but it's just like an aside. So, and when I wrote you back, Stefan, there were times when the town of Paonia had to replace people's reusable containers because they got thrown in the trash. Because the people throwing trash had no idea. So my suggestion was to say, or reusable containers clearly labeled as such in there so that it's clear that, so there were a couple of the changes I had suggested because I was kind of confused by how things were grouped and the instructions being given. Because the word bundled to me says it's tied. Whereas stacked and untied is much clearer. Just make a big pile of branches no more than 4 feet and they'll come with a pitchfork and throw it in, right? Is what you're intending?
Yeah, so I don't think that's really confusing. I think that for us, it just makes it so that we have this idea of what we're going to do, and then we can send out a flyer explaining what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. It does make sense if you wanted to separate yard waste, including branches, to be separate from leaves and grass clippings. I could understand that, but I think we're reading too far. Hang on. Gross. Sorry about that. I think yeah, if you just split them up, we could do that too. But ultimately, we're going to go out with here's what you can and can't do, and leave it at that. Here's what you can and can't do, and put it on their garbage cans ahead of any sort of enforcement.
And if I could just add respectfully, I think it's really important that the code is clear because that is where we get in trouble. You might write it in English on a flyer, but if people go to look at this and they think it's not clear, then I think we should fix it before we even out of the gate. You can't bundle something if you're not tying it. You can stack it.
Well, but that's why it says or in certified compostable bags for collection.
No,
right?
that's not my point is that you can't stack leaves and you can't stack grass clippings. So they should be containerized separately from the branches. And to me, if you're bundling, you would have to tie it to create a bundle. So it's better to not use the word bundle and just say neatly stacked, untied. So, because I think it's really important that people understand what's in the code. Thank you, Trustee Stone.
Well, I suggest that we remove in section 1, we remove branches, branches. And in section B, right above it, it says, tree trimmings or hedge cuttings for collection shall be placed or leave them in an organized, untied pile no longer than 4 feet in length. So let's just pull branches out of that section.
Yep.
And we're done.
Agreed. Yes.
And I think we want to be clear, like, if someone has a massive pile of grass and leaves, we want them to be in compostable bags or reusable containers. We do not want our staff to be just like picking up armfuls. So I think what did you say?
That's what they're doing now.
Yeah.
So,
And so I think in my mind, I agree with you, Mayor Smith, that we need to have it be very clear about what to do with grass and leaves. And I think that should be in compostable bags or clearly labeled reusable containers and not just freestanding.
It also saves our guys fighting with people of what does bundle mean, what does stack mean. Because they're the ones that are getting hit.
Any comments from the audience or anyone on Zoom? Seeing none. Yes. Yes, Trustee Hunter.
I have a question, Mayor Smith, in your comments. Where would you like to see clearly reusable containers? Is it just in that section 1 or were you proposing that we have it elsewhere?
Section 4 III on page 172 is where they are currently referenced.
Okay.
material that is not bundled and not in reusable containers. And my suggestion is to say not in reusable containers, clearly labeled as such, next to the reusable containers. Will not be picked up. And I think it's okay. Well, I think the reusable containers should go under B1 as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is that, does that get it what you're thinking?
Totally, thank you.
Those were my main things that I was confused about, that since we all are gonna be doing this, I wanted to make sure I understood it. So, I don't know, Stefan, any more input you would like after this discussion?
No, we really need to pass this one. So whatever you guys decide is great. That way we can, pass these charges for service in the next resolution.
So the other thing I would like to put is anytime it says plastic bags, say non-compostable. I mean, we have compostable bags, but I wanted to make it clear that non-compostable bags are not allowed.
So you would like to see plastic bags replaced with non-compostable bags?
Non-compostable plastic bags.
Okay.
Is a paper bag compostable?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that would mean that section B would be modified. Because section the term non-compostable is in force triple I. So just a consistency and 4 inches maximum. Branches alone stacked, but I don't know how to get this in a motion.
I'm tracking, and
Okay.
I have a question for Clerk Vetter. Would you like to see this broken into several motions, or?
If you have it written down clearly, you can do it in one as long as the board understands everything.
Gotcha, so I'm tracking what we have
Right.
so far. I don't know if there's
Excellent.
more trustee.
That's all I have, but. Ready for a motion? Thank you.
Anybody else? And I will email you a clean copy of what I'm about to say tomorrow.
Hey, trustees, Hunter, if you could, section 13670 has a typo as well. It says section 13570. That needs to be updated to say section 13670.
Okay. I am actually going to break this into 2 motions. I'm going to do a motion for changes and then a motion to approve as modified. Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to make the following changes to ordinance 2025-04. I would like to see the section heading labeled 13570 changed to 13670. I would like to see section 13, soon to be 6-70, section B, text changed from larger than 18 inches in diameter to larger than 4 inches in diameter. 13670.
Can I add on there, non-compostable bag?
Hold on, I'll get there.
Oh, sorry.
13670B1, to change that to read yard waste, including leaves and grass clippings, may be neatly stacked or in certified compostable bags or clearly labeled reusable containers for collection.
No neatly stacked, they have to be in some.
I thought we were saying it was okay stacked, just not bundled, because that was in plain type.
Trustee Stelter's thought was to take branches out of one altogether
Did that?
and including leaves and grass clippings and get rid of maybe bundled.
That's what I did.
Okay,
And get rid of neatly stacked, because we need staff to be able to just toss something in and not pick it up handful by handful.
Okay, so you definitely want to, okay.
yeah. can only be in compostable bags or reusable.
Let me revise just that portion. So 13670 B1 to read yard waste, including leaves and grass clippings, shall be placed in certified compostable bags or clearly labeled reusable containers for collection. Next one, 13670. Item 4, triple I. To read not in reusable containers clearly labeled as such. And then in section 4, to delete the word meat. And then throughout the entire ordinance, to replace plastic bags with non-compostable plastic bags. That is all I have for changes.
I think that's it.
I'll second that.
Yeah, right. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, that is that emergency ordinance.
Nope,
No.
not yet. Now
Oh,
I
yeah,
move
sorry,
to
sorry,
approve emergency ordinance 2025-04 as amended.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. That's probably where the most discussion was going to be needed tonight. So we're now on to item 7, consideration of resolution 20-2025 garbage collection rates and charges. Stephanie,
Okay.
are you-
I am. So this is the entire reason for that ordinance change is so that we can update our garbage collection charges for services. What we've done is we've proposed to you an increase in charges for services for each tier of normal services. The lowest tier, that's that $25 a month tier, is going up by 12%. Or is being proposed to move up by 12% to 28 a month from 25. The second tier is 16.7, and the third tier by 17.6%. So we're trying to reward those that are using less garbage with a lower increase in their rate. The passing that ordinance 2504 as an emergency allows us to change the pickup for bulk trash, those charges for services. And I picked these up directly from the Delta County website, the landfill, and then added a transportation fee for them since we have to transport it there. I want to say that I know that people don't like to see their charges for service go up, but we're $26,000 in the hole this year, and we need to make this up. It wasn't our fault that these costs rose. Our landfill tipping fees went up well over what we expected. We had expected it to go up $5 a ton. That's what was relayed to us during last budget season. And then we found out that it is in fact going up $15 a ton. So that's a significant increase that we've had to, oh goodness, pay for. And so that's what we're trying to cover. I also want to say that what we've been doing for bulk pickup has been like $5 or $10 for, even large appliances. And we're losing money on those things. I mean, large appliances are 50 or like $40 at the landfill being charged to us, and we were only collecting $10 for it. So we were subsidizing bulk trash pickup through having lesser fees. And so that's what you see here is that we have updated all of our rates for bulk, excessive, and oversized garbage collection. We got rid of that weird, if it takes one person, two people, three people to lift, and just made it standard. So now moving forward, when the landfill says, hey, here's our standard collection fees, we can update them accordingly. Small tabletop appliances are like bread makers, mixing machines, things like that. I know somebody's going to ask that question. I could hear it in the public. So.
Questions? Administrator Witt? Yes, trustee Schwartz.
I personally, I would even like to see the tiers be more significant for bigger garbage users. But maybe that can come in the future. I think we have to be able to cut down our garbage somehow. Perhaps if there's composting that we can offer through landfill, that can come in the future. But I'm fine with it as is, but I think we need to penalize people who are big garbage producers. I think that this was one way that you could do it. The second thing is, I did not know that that our garbage truck does pick up dumpsters, that we have dumpsters. I did not know that. So, that's all. That's just a comment, and otherwise I fully support this and I won't vote in favor.
Any other comments from trustees? Let me put it out. Anybody in the room with any comments or anyone on Zoom? No, okay. Good. All right, with that, someone like to make a motion?
I move to approve resolution 20-2025.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We are moving on to item number 8, consideration of requests from the Planning Commission requesting clarification about commissioners' terms and asking the town attorney for legal advice concerning process for canceling a meeting with no business. Clerk Vetter, do you want to start with your research?
Trying to pull it up, sorry. So I did miss a couple of people on the planning commission thing. I added them today. Former trustee Bruner and then trustee Hunter, who both served on the planning commission in the past couple of years. So I have them added to my master one. So man, the town's done some really cool stuff since 2017. That's what I've learned. And I'm gonna do this for all of the committees over time. It's a historical document, but it took me probably 2 days to get this far. At one point, the ZBOA didn't have enough people. It got rolled in the planning commission, and I was trying to figure out where extra planning commission members came from because there was no appointments, and it was because of that. But so this is tracked up to recently, except with the exception of like I said, former trustee Bruner and then trustee Hunter taking his spot. So all of our committee terms are correct. What's on the spreadsheet, it does reflect that. We have one position open right now. But I had to go back and track 2 off of, because we had people that would resign in the middle of a term and whoever's appointed only goes to the end of that term. So which is why it took me so long. So these are correct, at least back to the 2017. I didn't have the heart to go any further in my research yet, because that's gonna take some time to go out, but this is it for now.
Thank you. Yeah, sounds like a good approach. It's good to see. Yes.
May I ask a question of the town attorney?
Yes.
Attorney Buckner? So I have a question with regards, so during the planning commission, we had questions, but we are not allowed to ask them at that level, so it needs to come before the board. And our question was, so CRS section 31-23-204 says the planning commission shall hold at least one regular meeting each month. So the question that the planning commission came up with is, that's great when we do have business to go over, but at the times when we don't have business to go over, is there a legal way to cancel a meeting, or do we need to meet every month?
Yeah, so that particular section of the statute, while it says that, doesn't mean there's absolutely no exception to that, nor does it mean that that is some sort of a, criminal violation of the board if they don't meet. Typically, where you'd find an exception for this would be in a planning commission guide or planning commission bylaws, wherein they adopt, and most commonly in most other municipalities and counties, if they have that, they adopt some form or effect of, if there is no business to conduct, or if there's an emergency, or if the weather doesn't allow it, then they can reschedule those monthly meetings. Obviously, there's nothing specifically that it accepts that shall language for the monthly meeting, but this is one of those areas where you just apply common sense. And if there's nothing to do, the planning commission is also tasked with conducting business of the town during their meeting. So you can make a kind of extrapolated argument that if there's no business to conduct, then there's obviously no requirement to have the monthly meeting. It's just that they need to be scheduled, be typically on a regular monthly setting, and then notification needs to be sent if they're not going to be held and for what reason. And it's very common for planning commissions and quite frankly, any other commission, including the BOT, to cancel or continue the meeting to the next month if there's no items of business.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Stefan.
I think that what our planning commission is going to need, Clay, is an actual memo to that effect. And I would ask that we would get that so I can get it in front of all of our planning commissioners, and they can see that, hey, if we don't have some sort of application to hear that night, or there's no real business, we are able to cancel a meeting. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think one of the things, I'm happy to do that, Stefan, and please go ahead and task me that so I can work on it. I think one of the other things to consider at the next commission is whether or not the town, the board can, we need to create possibly bylaws for some of our commissions so that some of these things are spelled out. I think that's the easiest way to do it. And that way we're not, there's guidelines in place beyond my advice, and that would be my suggestion for the long term. And in the near term, I'm happy to write that MFR for the board.
Oh, that makes sense. Thank you.
I have a question for you, Clay. So will you prescribe who decides that the meeting can be canceled? Is that town staff or the chair?
In that situation, it's typically going to be the chair of the planning commission. But again, what the best way to do this is to provide guidance for that. So if there's no business to conduct, I don't know why you would conduct a meeting that triggers sunshine law, et cetera, because you're using town time, resources, and volunteer personnel, including the ex officio members of the BOT that are already working hard and are not paid to go and sit through a necessary process of opening a meeting, exclaiming there's no business to conduct, and then closing the meeting down just to say you held it. That doesn't seem to make sense to me. And so I would just suggest that we come up with bylaws. And again, this isn't reinventing the wheel here. I mean, these bylaws are out there in common for appointed commissions, et cetera, especially in a planning commission scenario where they're relied upon to conduct like really important business for the town. Bylaws are fairly common.
Before we move on, I have another question, which, any comments from our two audience members or anybody on Zoom? Here's my question. Do we need a motion from the board to task the town attorney to create a draft bylaws for the planning commission? Stefan?
We have done it in the past where you have tasked me with that, and then I go to Clay. And I think that's an appropriate way to do it. That way it's just continuing what our past practices.
Yes, trustee.
I have a question. Who comes up with the planning commission bylaws? Is that the BOT or the planning commission?
Is that for me?
Sure.
Typically you staff bylaws through town staff, and then they're approved by the commission that uses them and the BOT. Because the appointed commissions are serve at the pleasure of the BOT, typically there's BOT input, and then the planning commission would also adopt the bylaws or have some input, obviously, since they're the ones putting in the time and are still the people that are in charge of completing the planning commission tasks and the situation that we have, I think it's almost always such that whether it's a 5 or 7 person commission, the BOT, it makes up a majority of the board if you include the mayor. So, once the BOT goes through it, typically it doesn't have any issue with being passed, at the planning commission level. So because the way the statute's written and the ex officio members, you can really task it however it makes the most sense, but typically it's also adopted by the commission itself.
Second? Yeah, trustee Stelter.
Do you recommend it to be done by resolution or by ordinance?
Well, I mean, so there's a reason that we do certain things by resolution. For example, like we typically adopt the fee schedule by resolution because it changes. We typically adopt employee handbooks by resolution because they're subject to constant input amendments and changes. And so far that you wanted to codify the bylaws, I think that would be maybe unnecessary. I see a lot of bylaws that are adopted by resolution so that they're not codified so that they can be amended and so they're a little more flexible so they could be addressed by resolution in the future. Again, that's just a kind of a best practice, or what I've seen most of. It's up to the board how they want to do it. It wouldn't be wrong to adopt bylaws by ordinance. It just wouldn't be necessary, and in my opinion, it'd be more trouble than it's worth.
Hey, anyone else? Questions? Okay, would somebody like to craft a motion to ask our town administrator to develop bylaws for the planning commission?
I make a motion to have our town administrator develop bylaws for the planning commission.
I'll second. You can tell I miss making motions.
Wouldn't we want to do all boards with
It's not agendized.
Okay.
It would be my answer, that we only are talking about the planning commission. That is a good one to bring up in the future, but we couldn't do it tonight. Correct.
Yeah, thank you. Good Lord, thank you.
It's not going away.
So that we have a motion and a second, correct? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. All right, we're moving on to buying cameras. Item number 9, consideration of approval of purchasing security cameras for town facilities.
So this is kind of a joint effort, I guess, between Chief, myself, and Stefan. So we were looking into Verkada cameras. Matt did most of the research on this one for surveillance, for facilities that they can't be in physically. Verkada is able to have a live camera that they can pull up on their phone and see how many people are at the park. They get a call from the park that AF Fight's broken out. They can pull it up, boom, they can already see it. This also will help. Verkada is able to store things on the cloud instead of a server, which was a huge push to go with Verkada as well. So it helps with surveillance for PD to be able to patrol, but it's also going to help Public Works in that we'll now have cameras at all our facilities, which we don't have. One of the big ones, I think, was town park vandalism. I mean, you guys have already seen, it's been in my report several times. Not that we would put a camera in the bathroom, but one pointing towards the bathroom. Water and wastewater, plant blows up, there's water all over the floor, we can tell when it happened, what's going on before they drive up there. So that will help immensely as well. So that's kind of how it helps our departments. Oh, we're also gonna put one here in Town Hall, which I think we only have this one currently. But again, that will help with security at our Town Hall. So with Verkada as well, I think it's also used by multiple local municipalities as well, counties, cities, because of its whole package. This was what was really hard to find the 3 bids for. The whole package doesn't come in any other company, especially that works with what we need as a remote area and for what PD needs for law enforcement. I don't know if you want to jump in there, but ours is very much like, we can see live time. That will help with our water, wastewater facilities immensely.
Yeah, so we're calling off on several things. A couple of their big key features were their cellular cameras. They're able to put those up at water treatment and out. We'll be able to remote into those cameras to see, check on those. Right now, we have officers that go out and patrol those areas, but over a 10-hour shift, they're out there a small fraction of that time, given that it's out of town. The other thing that benefits you with Mercado is that they're able to store the cloud storage system they have is going to be roughly 30 days of cloud storage, and allows us to limit the access to that footage. So we'll have users that have access, but it won't be widely accessible to everybody. They'll be able to log in and look. Town hall is included, the park is included, water treatments, wastewater treatment are all included. And we're hoping to kind of use those also from PD standpoint as a force multiplier. So, for example, if we have Harvest Fest is occurring in the 200 block of Maine, we could remote in and look at that and say, yeah, that's definitely ramping up. A lot of people are starting to show up for the concert. We need to maybe move our guys from the park. But the other thing is we've relied several times now on community cameras where we're out knocking on doors asking somebody if they have footage of what we need, just to help people out. And that's been for not just criminal incidents, but missing people, some of our pending care and rehab folks that kind of not come back on time. So we're looking to kind of make town a little bit safer with that and help out there.
And, Administrator Nguyen, I see your hand is up if you'd like to add on.
Yeah, this should put all of those folks on Facebook that say you need cameras at the park to pay, because that's what we're planning to do. But I do want to bring up how we're going to pay for this. So yes, it will be split between different departments, and part of that is there were funds budgeted for this fiscal year out of capital outlay for just about every fund that we have. But we've also recently sold or disposed of a lot of surplus property. That a portion of that will go towards these cameras because it is slightly more than what we expected. And then whatever is left over, we plan to do a budget amendment bring a budget amendment in front of you for laptops at the PD and Public Works. But the majority of this has been budgeted. I do want to say that if there is any sort of motion made tonight to accept this agreement so that we can move forward, you will also have to waive section 4680 of our purchasing and procurement code, because it is because this is considered sole source purchase using a state bid, as explained in the staff report. And that section again was section 4680.
Thank you. Let me open it up to the public first for anybody in town hall interested in speaking, and I don't see any hands online. So we're good. And we'll turn it over to the trustees for questions, comments. Oh, sorry.
I have a comment. Both our wastewater and water facilities need this desperately. Both of them have hazardous chemicals, and any kind of vandalism could potentially put the town into a serious problem that would cost maybe as much as millions. So this is a security thing, and Homeland Security is pushing for this everywhere. So we're kind of ahead of the curve a little bit.
Yes.
Let's see, what will be our reoccurring or annual cost for this? Or maybe it's in here and I missed it?
This is 5 years, so it's on each specific site has that 5-year cost up there, which item will revisit. Probably somewhere around that 3-year mark is when we would revisit. We're kind of relying on them a little bit as far as how much cloud storage we're going to need based on the size of our municipality and the number of cameras we have. But that's why that would be open for us to revisit there. But this is what we have right now.
Oh, so this like 50,000, whatever, that is for the, like, that's basically covered for the next 5 years?
To the best of my knowledge, that does include our cloud storage. And that's, it's not only à la carte, but it gives us the opportunity to see how much footage are we using. Is every camera just constantly recording all the time, and then we're holding that for 30 days? Do we need more? We want to add more cameras, expand this system, some of those things. And I think one of Verkada's, one of their other features is, you know, if you were to incorporate some of the other options they list, you know, if you were to do key coded doors, their cameras all work with that. So anytime the key code is swiped up at the water treatment plant, the camera would automatically record who it was that swiped, they're coming in. But those things would be dependent upon, again, how many people have cards, how often you want to record, how much are you actually using? Are we using all of it, or maybe we can break that down a little bit?
And my second thing is I've worked with Mitch and Co. for like 15 years. They're professional. I think that they're fabulous. And I'm really glad that they are doing this for us. So that's my 2 cents on that. Granted, I haven't worked with them in like 4 years, but still, they were really good.
And our original quote was actually out of the install company was out of Grand Junction. But they're busy on another Verkada project now, and so Mitchell and Co is next up. So far, they've been tremendous. They drove over within that same week, I think, when we contacted them as a possible new installer. They met with Derek, I believe. They toured the entire facilities again and worked this up. So far, they've been phenomenal.
And Derek liked them, so I mean, that's hard to do.
Anyone else with questions or comments? Someone ready to make a motion, including the reference to the purchasing policy? Yes, trustee Hunter.
I would like to make a motion to waive the procurement and purchasing code section 4680 requiring or allowing for a sole source bid and approve in an amount not to exceed $50,288, the bid from Mitchell and Company for the Verkada security camera system for town facilities.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item number 10, modifying chapter 11, article 1, section 80, street closure permit by adding block parties.
Okay, so this is I guess the final product of what came out of our special events ad hoc committee. And it does now modify our chapter 11, article 1, which concerns streets, sidewalks, and public places, and makes reference to our new code for these special events, for special events. So this went through the committee, and when I sent it to everyone, I received no feedback as to maybe we should change some things or not, except when we did take it to the committee, section 11-180Q7, we added some language that said block parties may not serve alcohol without a special liquor license pursuant to PMC section 6110 through 6190, and alcohol may not be consumed without an on-premise permit. That was the amendments that we made during our committee. Essentially, this allows for block parties under certain conditions.
Questions? Yes.
Okay, I wasn't quite clear. Is there a fee? I get that it says block parties are disqualified from sponsorship in lieu of fees. Are there fees for block parties?
Yes, there were fees associated with the resolution that we did, updating those fees. It was in anticipation of this ordinance coming.
Great, thank you.
Anyone else? I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
I do have a comment. There's
Trustee Hill.
some blocks can't throw block parties, simply, truck route or businesses of both ends. We should be able to allow them to do something somewhere. at a reasonable cost, I would think. It's just not fair.
What were you referring to? I don't.
Well, Annaga is a good example. They got one block, well, both blocks get shut off because they got businesses up the end. State law states that you can't obstruct business from entering customers from entering a business. They're not eligible. And then there's the truck route and things like that. There's several blocks in the town that can't possibly throw a block party. Unless we allow them to use like the park, could they get away with using an alley?
Yes, and that's provided for within this ordinance.
Something like that. That may be a reasonable cost there, yeah.
Yeah, and
That's just.
it is provided in subsection 2. A block party may be held on a public street or alley within a residential zoning district. Is that?
Right,
is it
and I mean,
use of the alley?
like give them a deal. I mean, who wants to go into an alley? Right? It's the worst part of the town.
Do you want to propose a change?
I don't know how to do that, you know that.
Well, I was wondering, Stefan or Clerk Vetter, can you pull up the resolution? It's in this packet. So, and just say what the cost would be based on the special event rate, and then do they have to do street closure as well and pay the fee for street closure?
Well, blocks will usually shut off, it's part of the car sideways.
Block party application shall meet all requirements of this section, including but not limited to street closure application, insurance, and naming. So there's actually 2 fees associated based on this code? Am I understanding that correct?
Insurance requirement.
So the only fee that's currently required is a $50 application fee and a $25 per hour of street closure for special events. There is a $100 refundable deposit for cleaning and materials, for cleaning and material fees for 4 hours or less, $250 refundable deposit for cleaning and material fees for 4 hours or more. Setup and breakdown for events that have street closures are not included in the calculation of fees, so long as the entirety of the street closure stays under 10 hours. So if you were to have a 2-hour block party, your total cost would be $100 non-refundable, plus a $100 refundable deposit for cleaning, so a total of $200. But you will also have to provide a proof of insurance, indemnifying the town and holding us harmless or naming us as an additional insured. And that's just another. That's what this is requiring.
Thank you. The other discussion or Trustee Hicks is to change the amount would require a change to the resolution. Oops. Which, I mean, that can be done. But
not tonight.
yeah.
Well, and to be clear, the state statute is, is clear that you can't block a truck route. And so even if we were to try to make something that says, oh yeah, we can block a truck route, I'm not so sure that we can trump statute that says, no, you can't. My understanding, and Clay can correct me if I'm wrong, is that you can always make things more restrictive, but not less restrictive. Clay, are you able to speak to that at all?
Can I just interrupt 1 second? I don't think Trustee Heck wanted to be able to have it on a truck route. He was saying if you happen to have it in the alley, could you pay less to have it in the alley?
Right.
That's what you were getting at, not trying to override the truck route.
I see. You see.
For those that can't have it because of the truck route. Anyway.
Yes, or
Other
state
reasons.
law about businesses.
So that's what his question is, and that's not something that was contemplated in this ordinance. And it would require a motion to change the resolution, correct? Administrator Wynn and Clay?
Yeah, it would. It would require some sort of condition for, something separate from street closure permit to add an alley.
I agree with town administrator.
Okay. Did I already ask for any input from the audience? I did, thank you. We're on number 9, so yes. This is different than construction closure, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just throwing that out there.
Motion.
Mhm.
I'd like to move to approve ordinance 2025-05 block parties.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion, since I know?
Okay, guess not. Can I abstain?
I mean, if you'd like to,
Make a motion?
no, I mean, ask to have this put on a future agenda to modify the fee schedule, that can certainly be done.
Yeah, could you do that?
Oh, we have a motion in a second.
Is that asking too much?
Vote on the motion.
Yeah. We have to vote on this motion,
Sure.
and then we could, well, if this is approved by vote, can it still be tabled or brought back for further discussion?
Well, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My suggestion to trustee Heck was that if he wanted to modify the fee schedule, he could ask that be placed on a future agenda. Because that's not on tonight's agenda.
Yeah, we can do that, I guess.
Right, so improving this ordinance or not is on this agenda, but modifying the existing resolution with the fee schedule is not on this agenda.
See it.
So I was just recommending that if you wanted to entertain that at a future meeting, put that on the future agenda.
Right, and I'm wondering if we were to modify the text of this to say, no, never mind. That did recognize, anyway, never mind, I'm with you, keep going. So we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all, that was unanimous?
Yes.
All right, so this ordinance passes. Would you like to make a motion to ask for
I'll read it.
a review of alleys and,
This is my first. I request a motion to put this up for discussion at a later date on the fees. Can I say it that way? It doesn't have a number or a title.
do you want it to be specific to alleys, or would you like it to be open-ended?
Let's have it open-ended, but yeah, that's the main,
Okay, go ahead and, did you get the motion from trustee Heck?
This request to have a discussion about the fee schedule, the fee schedules on a future agenda.
And do we need, hang on one second, I don't want to open up the entire fee schedule at the next meeting? Really? You mean fee schedule associated with block parties?
correct.
Is that, could, I
No,
just.
that's fine.
I didn't know.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah, it hasn't been seconded, and I'm just trying to prevent an open end.
Okay.
Mayor and trustee Heck, if I may, if you were to open up the applicable fees related to street closures and block parties, that would be under administrative fees, private use of public spaces. Then that way you're not reopening the entire fee schedule. So it would be administrative fees for private use of public spaces.
Okay. Okay, I'm going with specific. Just the alleys.
You just start fresh, because that one died for a lack of a second, so.
You want me to go through that again?
Well, I don't think it died, I think we were still just crafting the first.
Right, I don't, yeah,
Oh.
okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I think you have to state it.
I need to say it? I have to go through that again?
You do, yeah.
I request a review of the fees of a concerning the gravel of alleys for block parties. What are you trying to tell me?
Helping over him.
Okay,
So
I want,
Stefan's point was, so this is the resolution for fee schedules, right?
Okay.
This is what was passed.
right,
We don't want to open that whole thing up. Stefan's point was it's just this section that has the street closures, and this is where block parties and things would live. And so his suggestion was requesting a review of the administrative fees, private use of public spaces fees.
Did you get that? Okay. To be reevaluated at a later date.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I,
Oh, was that an aye?
I'm
or-
saying aye,
aye.
I'm saying aye.
Aye. Okay. Was
I
that
was
you?
actually saying a nay.
Oh, that was a nay, so we have.
Sure. Can I have a roll call?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay, all those in favor? You want to do a roll
Yes,
call?
please. Mayor Pro Tem Swartz,
Nay.
trustee Stetser,
Aye.
trustee Check,
Aye.
trustee Hunter.
Aye.
Trustee Heck,
Aye.
trustee Valentine.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. And then, did you want to do?
Yes.
Okay, we have an update from Mayor Pro Tem
Sure.
Schwartz.
So this is an update on the short-term rental committee. Right now, last week, Town Administrator Rin, Trustee Stelter, and I met to develop the process for selecting the 2 additional members of the committee. During that meeting, we went through the application. Thank you to Town Clerk Vetter for getting it posted, for creating it, and it's posted. Is staff doing a PSA on PDF? Chance. Thank you.
I got it on Text My Gov.
Yep, it came out on Text My Gov. You'll notice that the application is a little bit different than the normal application that we use for committees. We really wanted to, we want to have those 2 members of the public have diverse opinions, so we tailored the questions to it. The deadline for receiving those is Monday, the 18th. We're gonna have our second meeting our meeting where we select the candidate or the selected 2 people on the 19th. And people are welcome to give a 2-minute presentation if they would like. And then ideally, we'll have selected the 2. Ideally, we get a lot of people, we'll select them on the 19th, and then at the 26th board meeting, we'll ask for your approval. And then once the committee meets, then we'll come up with deadlines, meeting times, goals. So we did not do that because we really felt like we needed the whole committee. So we're moving forward. Anything you'd like to add?
Okay, any other questions for anyone? Any more from staff? Seeing none, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone.